Welcome back to another episode of the Counterculture Podcast. I'm your host, Christian Law, with my great friend and co-host, Taylor.
What's up?
And, how's it going?
Just another day, man. Work's getting busy, which is good.
Yeah.
I haven't said that in the podcast in a while because I've been kind of in a lull.
A lull, yeah.
Which is nice because I've been like steady for like 3 years. So I was trying to enjoy the break, but with the lull comes not so much money. So excited to get ramped back up. But I was expecting to ramp back up at least a few months ago so then I could try to coast. I feel like I've been saying for the last 4 years that come Christmas time or the holiday season, I was going to slow down the work and kind of sandbag it a little bit. So it was more enjoyable through the holidays. But it seems everybody wants to get moved in and have their home closed by the end of a fiscal year, whether it's a company's, fiscal and they're trying to round things off for, what do you call it? Not for audits or whatever, but for the budgets and all that end of year fiscal.
The fiscal
year.
But
people want to get moved in before the holidays too.
And all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but homeowners, they want to move in before the end of the year too. So it seems like I never get a slow Christmas. So I'm going to have like 6 to 10 each month, like November and December.
Nice.
Yeah, no, not fun. But hey, here we are.
It is what it is.
But it's kind of good to be busy, you know what I mean? I'm not one to do well faster, with too much free time. What's that saying? You guys like idle
hands or the devil's plaything?
Yeah.
Which is a true statement. If you ever think about anytime you've done something not that you regret, means you were probably doing nothing to some form or fashion.
True.
Probably. But also, we just celebrated your daughter's first birthday.
Oh, yeah, that too. But yeah.
Big deal. The last first birthday.
Yeah, but all my kids have been kind of like sick this past week or whatever, so it's been a little.
Yeah, Liam was sick since like Wednesday, like morning ish.
Yeah,
weird. I don't know.
It's like Tuesday something like kicked in.
Like there's like a little bug or something going.
Yeah, but my daughter had like a gunky eye.
Ew.
And like sinuses, so some kind of like sinus still.
Well, it's not even that.
It wasn't like pink eye. It was just like when the sinuses come up through the glands.
Yeah, it's very gross.
Gross. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not today's topic, but you're welcome.
It is not today's topic, but it's life.
So yeah, your kid was sick too.
Mm-hmm.
Did he go to the other two or no?
No, he seems the other two seem to be fine. Well, it's not like a sinus thing for him. He like we went to breakfast after we dropped off Eli Wednesday morning, and like when we got back to the house, he like puked, like his breakfast, he's never done.
Really?
So we're like, that's odd.
My daughter was a puker.
He just felt he just looked like how like when someone just looks like really fatigued, right?
Yeah.
So like he was just like that,
like ghost white,
glaze, glaze over his eyes. Like he was like out of it, and it was kind of went into like basically like this afternoon. He finally started to kind of come up. So I don't know. What's going on.
She didn't
really
eat for a couple
days. He didn't
days.
Want to eat. Like he didn't really want to drink anything. It's like this isn't.
Yeah, that was her.
She
didn't really want to eat for like 2 days. Just kind of drank water and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's what they say is like, what is it? Feed a fever, starve a cold, or whatever. Whatever it is.
Yeah. We have all kinds of sayings today already.
So it was one of those. So we were like, hey, if she's not hungry, then we're not going to force it. Keep her hydrated.
Yeah, just
but it's funny because you were talking about puke.
Go on.
Somehow or another, my eldest, he's like 7 now, I believe. And he's become quite sensitive with the gag reflex.
Oh, no.
Like, poor kid. He's always had kind of a queasy stomach. Like, if other people are getting sick, then...
He kind of gets him, too.
But my daughter, my youngest, we were at Chick-fil-A the other day. It was yesterday, actually. On the way to Faith Formation or whatever. We stopped there because the kids are going to miss dinner time because we got to drop them off like right at like 6:15, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, really.
It's perfect timing as a parent.
I know, right?
So we drop them off there. And my daughter, she's in the high chair. She's feeding herself off the table, right? But she started doing this thing where she was like leaning her head back. And she thought it was funny, like to lean it all the way back against the high chair, lean it all the way back. But the problem is when she's chewing, food kept falling in and she kept gagging herself. She'd be like, like choking.
And like, don't do that.
We kept having to tell her stop. And then she'd sit up and she'd clear it herself and she'd cough and she'd be good. got to the point where at one time she like literally started making that like gagging sound because she was choking.
Yeah.
And that sound got into my son's ears.
And he's like, I can't
No,
do this.
he was at the table, like about to throw up, and he got out of the booth. Excuse me. He couldn't like control it like he thought he was about to. So then he laid down on the booth because my middle daughter, she was in the playpen, whatever. So she was, and he was laying down. He was burying his face in the booth, and he would like get back up, and then he was like trying to cover his ears because in his mind he was still hearing it. And he was making himself sick, and we're like, calm down.
You're like, don't freak out.
Don't be the kid to puke. It's one thing if it's like a 1-year-old and you're just, oh, that's spit up. That's not puke. That's spit up.
Yeah. When they're a kid,
When it's full on
puke.
When it's full on toddler, man, that might as well be a grown ass person because
That's right.
gross. Man, he's had 12 nuggets and sweet tea and
You're
French
like,
fries.
no,
We're like,
please.
don't do it. Don't do it. This can be everywhere. I was able to grab his hand and take him outside real quick. My wife was like, after the fact, she was like, why didn't you take him to the bathroom? Really? The outside where everybody can see it through the window? In my mind, it was quickest because I kind of gathered there was more of a sensory deal for him. And the outside with the breeze and hearing cars.
Yes.
I'm like, which worked because he got it out of his own head. But you said gagging. And I'm like, my son is so queasy that I told my wife after the fact, I'm like, I've got a secret weapon now. If he wants to start talking back, I'm just going to start going, and she goes,
Hopefully
that is
none.
evil.
Hopefully none
She
of our
goes, "You are
listeners have one of those
such
things.
a bad person. I'm like, it's not like I've done it. I'm just saying I could if I wanted to. I've got
Yeah,
the
I'm
power.
just saying if he was mouthing off, he's being a little
With
ass.
great power comes great
Yeah,
responsibility.
I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, you want to talk back? Okay.
talk to this.
Yeah, talk to me like.
What did you do?
What did you say?
What's in the box?
Mm.
All right, what you got for us today?
Oh man, okay.
Fun stuff, I'm sure. The world's fun. Everything is fun right now. If you haven't taken a look outside,
We
do it.
didn't
Because
start the fire.
You may not
It
see the
was
sun in a
always
few days. I
burning
don't know.
since the world's
Well, you'll see a
returning.
sun, but
We
you'll
didn't
realize
start
it's
the
not
fire.
the real sun.
What?
I'm just making nuke jokes while you're singing.
Yeah.
We're kind of doing it at the same time.
Yeah. Well, what was the thing on Saturday? Actually, speaking of the sun, what was the thing on Saturday? Was it a total eclipse or something?
It was a Ring of Fire eclipse.
Ring of Fire. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Wild. I mean, you
pretty
almost
cool.
went blind.
I did for the rest of the day.
I couldn't see anything.
My wife was like, really? It is funny because during it and even leading up to it, I was telling her how I've seen these TikToks lately where people have been staring at the sun.
God, people are so
Staring at the
fucking
sun.
stupid.
And they're like, it's, our ancestors used to stare at the sun and we were fine. And they don't want you to stare at the sun nowadays. And they say it makes you go blind because they're trying to keep you sick. And the sun heals you and can actually cure blindness. And I've been seeing TikToks about it where it's like corrective eye surgery. And guys, you start in like small doses, but then you get to the point where you're trained up. We can stare at it 5-10 minutes a day, like straight at the sun, and you're fine. So me trying to like watch this eclipse and I'm like covering it up and I'm like looking and squinting. I was fine until I stopped. And then like I was seeing spots for like 8 hours the rest of the day.
I'm blind.
I couldn't read my phone. So I don't know if
So it's actually not a cure to blindness. It could be the number one leading cause of blindness. Is what you're saying.
there you go.
But actually, I mean, I do think that there is some truth to the fact that the sun can help, heal
Well,
you.
it's the vitamin D
Yeah,
and
vitamin
then-
D. Yeah.
Honestly, why not? You think laser eye surgery, you're getting like pure light. Why not? Why not?
I guess I'll try and let you know how that goes.
It's not like you're watching like welding,
Well,
You're like,
my
"Don't stare at
eyesight
the light,
can't get
Francis."
any worse than it is now, to be honest.
True.
So, but what's funny though about that is, have you ever seen the thing about like guys, and this is on like those like super like
I've never seen a thing about guys.
hold on, like the super carnivore or like trad sort of accounts on like Instagram or TikTok. They'll talk about like sunbathing for your nuts. I'm serious.
I saw that. That was a trend for a while. They were saying it was supposed to help, like I guess boost.
Boost testosterone or boost
Because
like,
you're getting
sperm
that.
count?
I don't know. But it's funny you bring that up because just yesterday I scrolled and it was one of those videos where a guy's talking and responding to a comment, but it had 0 likes and 0 comments. I'm like, how the heck is this guy on my For You page? Like nobody's watched him. But it was talking about icing your nuts. So we went from sunbathing them to icing them. And it's supposed
Why
to
would
help.
you ice them?
supposed to boost sperm count and everything and testosterone. I'm like, so which is it? Are we supposed to heat
Wait,
these bad boys up?
are we supposed
Cool
to
down.
cook them in the summer heat?
I think
or ice
all of
them
it's just
down?
trial by fire. Anything that's just not good for it is good for it. I think that's the common theme here. Next, it's going to be electricity. You just get car batteries.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Two terminals.
Just fucking-
And if you're really in a pinch, just, a stun gun, police taser, Academy has those little. And then
Oh my God,
fertility
it's so
is already
stupid.
in the tank. So what can it hurt, right?
Yeah, it can't get. You know what? To be honest, it can't get any worse.
They call it sun gazing.
That's what
It
it is.
sounds-
Sun gazing. Yeah,
Sounds
yeah.
so laissez-faire.
Yeah.
Although proponents of sun gazing state that it can help focus the mind, experts advise against the practice,
Why do experts say this?
as it can cause permanent eye damage.
Well, you know what? Experts also said that you should get vaxxed for COVID, and they
But
were
it
wrong
does
about that
give you
too.
more energy, better sleep, and resets your circadian rhythm and lower stress.
Staring at the sun.
Maybe your stress is lower because you can't see that the world is burning around you.
Speaking of the world burning around you, good segue.
You like
So-
that?
So I hope we're all ready, right? We should probably be receiving our draft card soon. Because, I mean, at this point, World
The
War
women are
III
growing
is
too now. It's the best
all,
news
all
I've
of it.
heard.
I mean, there's going to be no one left in the United States. I mean, they're going to have, I guess, I don't know, teenagers, right? And kids, I guess, running things. I don't know what's going to happen. But unless you've been living under a rock, although I haven't.
Iraq?
A-Rock?
Iraq? Get it? Iraq?
Iran? Anyway.
And I run. I want to run so far away, yeah.
Yeah, I do want to run away. So, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict. And I wanted to talk about, I mean, we're not going to get into in-depth stuff.
Hell no.
We're not news anchors. We're not a Daily Wire. We're not a whoever, right? We're just two guys that drink and talk about
Drink and
stupid
talk
stuff.
shit.
And one thing, everyone, whenever big things like this, everyone has an opinion.
They're like buttholes, man. Have you heard that saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep, opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one.
And they all stink.
And they all stink indeed. And so, that being said,
I know what team I'm on. I don't know about what team you're on.
here's the thing, right? I was listening to someone talk about it. I can't remember who it was. It was like a clip on TikTok. But whenever things like this happen, right? A lot of people have a tendency to, just respond with "do something," right? And when I think about where we're at with this particular conflict and the implications of it, the other two times where I can think of, I remember who talked about that. It was Matt Walsh. I think he's correct about this, though. Is the two other major events in our lifetime where you had this big rising idea of we need to do something was
Like 9/11?
9/11, number one, and then COVID. Right. And in both instances, right, the knee-jerk reaction in the long term really proved to actually be a bad idea. Right? When it came to 9/11, obviously there's a whole lot of thoughts about 9/11 and what happened and all that kind of stuff. Did it garner some sort of response? Yes. The result of a 20 years worth of war, not good. And again, at the time, right, anyone that would have spoken against what we did, right, was seen as someone who was very un-American, right? Didn't care about the country, all that kind of stuff, right?
It was a united front.
Yeah, I mean, again, both Republicans and Democrats alike, were like, we need to go blow shit up, right? And again, I think in the long term, that ended up being a bad idea, where a lot of Americans are dead now because of that happening, not only from the attack itself, but all the military members that were over in the Middle East for all these years. But then COVID, right? I mean, the COVID initial response, again, almost 4 years later now, right, is very clearly left significant amount of damage and was absolutely the wrong thing to do. And again, it was not in the same exact way, but a similar way is if you were against the narrative, right? If you didn't follow along, right? You were seen as, this horrible, terrible person that didn't care about people, all this kind of stuff. And this situation in Israel or in the middle, in Israel with in Gaza or whatever, is kind of has the same feel about it. And there's a lot of people that I think would like the U.S. to be more involved, and I think that is
The wrong move.
a bad idea.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you what team I'm on.
What team are you on?
Team America.
Yes,
And I don't
that's a
care.
great movie, by the way.
America. No, but honestly, we got enough problems of our own. I mean, we're only sending like $700 to the victims of Maui. But, I mean, Biden just petitioned, or he's about to petition, for more, another $100 billion to go to Ukraine and Israel. They're
Yeah.
going to like split it, but $60 billion of it or whatever is going to just Ukraine. I'm like, why? Like, I'm so over it. I think most of America is over it. I'm like, we need to focus on our own. With the amount of money we've sent abroad of taxpayer dollars, you know how many problems of our own we could have fixed?
Plenty, a lot.
Meanwhile, we got this free-for-all open border policy kind of thing going on right now. I think we broke a new record the other day where it was like 11,000 in one day
yeah.
or something. You know, the scariest part is, I was telling my wife, I mean, like, say what you will about that open-ended message about that, last Friday's day of jihad and all that kind of didn't happen. But like, what if it did? The scary part for me is like all these people that are coming over. It's not just Hispanics or Latin Americans coming trying to seek asylum, and like everybody's like CNN's trying to portray. It's people from China, Korea, Syria, like all
people
these
from
places.
all over the world.
But it's not. You don't see a lot of women and children. For the most part, it's like fighting age men.
Right.
So I'm like, if you believe in such things, I'm like, I don't know, man. It's not a good look. I think everybody should be prepared. I think we need to focus and turn and look inwards and focus on our own issues domestically, our own protection, our own friends and families. And I'm not a prepper, but I mean, everybody should be prepared to some extent because, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, if anything happened to America, I mean, they were talking about how in Gaza right now that they got the water and electric got shut off because they're like, that's how they're fighting. They're shutting it off for the civilians. They're trying to, really put a strain on there. What if that happened over here? Do you think people are going to cope with that? People lose it if we lose power for 2 days because of weather.
2 days. People lose it if they lost power for 30 minutes.
Right. That's the scary part. I mean, if you didn't know this already, most grocery stores only have enough food supply for 3 days worth of demand. And that's not like this bum rush, like a hurricane's coming kind of demand. I'm talking normal, everyday demand. They have 3 days worth of supplies.
That's right.
That's why trucks come every Tuesday, Thursday, whatever, and restock. That's why you got people who get paid every night, little stocker boys who are stocking the shelves all night long, ready for the next day. So if something happened, whether it was an attack, some day of jihad or whatever, and they went after, a power station, or they started blockades or whatever and started, taking on trucks, and the trucks couldn't get, I don't know. That's not the point, but got to be ready. I mean, it could be like a guerrilla type warfare.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think people are getting ready. I don't have enough food to it'd be tough to ration, but 2 weeks, I don't know. What if the water stopped? You're just used to water coming out of a tap. What if the water stopped flowing? Where are you going to get water? Do you have enough water bottles? Are you going to bathe? What about hygiene? It's scary. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? Is that now you understand more and more why I say all immigration should be stopped, not just legal immigration, right? Why I have that viewpoint, but it's the worst part about it. Again, similar to the Ukraine situation, which you brought up, is that like again, everybody has an opinion about it. For me, I'm like, I don't know because I don't know what's true.
It's a propaganda war.
Well, I mean,
we don't know what's true.
Part of it is a proxy war, right? Because obviously, the United States does back Israel, right? But Hamas is backed by Iran, right? And Iran and Syria have ties with Russia, so it's like we're talking about a lot of a proxy conflict. But at the same time, as well, there's lies on both fronts of it, right? Like there was a story that came out that like horrified people. well, not even before that, like about the all these children that were killed, right, by terrorists, right, babies, all kind of stuff. I'm not saying it's not true, but there are some reports saying that maybe that came out and that was actually a lie, right? That was not a true story, right? But then again, in the same vein, right, the hospital story, right? It was like, oh, Israel did this. Well, actually, it may have appeared that it was it was Hamas that was trying to fire a rocket, but it failed and blew up. It didn't launch; it just blew up there, right? And so a lot of it is like you don't know what's true and what's not true, right?
But the problem is everybody's clickbaiting.
Oh yeah,
and the reposting, and it's just regurgitated information with no fact checking of its own. People need to, if we haven't learned enough from going through COVID and sharing misinformation so fast before it can get fact checked,
that everything is a lie, pretty much.
Slow the hell down.
Yeah,
especially when it's not even in our garden. I mean, I understand like everybody wants to be involved, and some people have family or friends that are over there. It's more close to home. But for the average American, even if Israel's an ally for the U.S., so be it. We should still let our government handle it. And in the meantime, sit back, soak in all the information we have so we can have create an opinion.
Right. It's important to, like you're saying, like,
you don't want to be
take
reactionary,
a second. Yeah, don't be reactionary. You got to take a second, stop, right? And just realize, if Trump was still president, none of this would ever happen. No, I'm just kidding. But take a second before, well, I mean, to be actually honest, I do think that would be true. This wouldn't be happening if he was president.
We should do a shirt for the merch shop where it says, "Do you miss me now?" And it's just
it's just him. Yeah, with the fake meme glasses or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
See that TikTok I sent you? He's like, "Bye bye."
Yeah. Oh man, anyways. He's so funny. Yeah, I miss him as president. He's so entertaining. So yeah, I mean, it's just. Look, obviously, anyone that has been hurt or killed in this situation, obviously, it's very sad, right? It's very sad and it's terrible. But at the same time, there are many that seem to be very gung ho about the U.S. getting more intimately involved, and I think that is a recipe for disaster. Because any sort of direct involvement of the U.S., I mean, you're probably gonna see other larger, forces come into play here. Yeah. And again, that's how you get like a worldwide conflict to actually perhaps happen. And I don't know, man. Weird stuff's happening, right? Because I don't know if you saw this thing. I saw it on TikTok, right? So
I cringe every time I say it.
I know.
I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm one of those people. But this person was talking about how they saw this, I guess like travel warning, right? About like potential terrorist attacks or what to do or how to prepare or whatever. And I don't know. It's one of those things where sure, someone just saw it, right? But who knows how long this thing has been around, right? It just so happens you're paying attention to it because of what's happening currently,
right.
So it could be one of those coincidence things. I don't know.
Who knows how long certain things have been in motion.
I don't know.
You know what makes me nervous, and somebody pointed out again on TikTok to me, is these pro-Palestinian protests that are happening in like Michigan, and there was just one at the Capitol. Thankfully, they were like arresting people because I didn't,
Are you talking about the pro-Palestine insurrection that happened at the U.S. Capitol?
Is it an insurrection?
I don't know.
Is it a protest? Because
I
you got to play fair.
I saw
We play by the same rules, people.
No, we don't. That's the thing is we don't. Have you ever seen that? You've seen that meme? It's a Family Guy meme where it has like it's such a funny joke. Like it's like it's like a little sheet and it has the shades of like skin color. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, you're probably going to pull that up later.
I will. It's so funny because it's from a joke, a Family Guy joke of being stopped at like checkpoints, and like it's like Peter Griffin like comes up to the checkpoint and they put this little card in front of him and like he has one of the approved skin tones. They let him go, and if someone's too dark and it stops. It's
like probably Cleveland or something.
It's so funny. Okay. I'm sorry for the sidebar. Did you ever watch like it was like the old Family Guy episodes where like Peter fought the man-sized chicken?
Oh yeah, but they have like part 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, there's a bunch
Yeah.
of them, but I saw the first 5. Like, 'cause, like the first one was like back again in the '90s. And, dude, I just love those so much. It's so funny. Oh man, Family Guy used to be so good.
I've stopped watching all that kind of stuff.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I used to watch it a lot in high school and stuff like.
Well, I liked all those like adult.
Yeah,
kinda
South Park,
Futurama, South Park,
yeah,
all of it.
they were all so good.
It
I
was-
never got into The
especially-
Simpsons though.
No, me neither. I think that's maybe I'm too young for The Simpsons. Even
I
though
think it's
still
just what it
going.
was. It was the generation before me. I just never really got into it. Or before us.
But the generation just below us, I know a lot of people even my age and older who like this show, but I never actually personally started it. But it's Rick and Morty. I heard it's freaking great.
I can't do, dude. It just looks weird. It just looks too weird for me.
It's more weird than the rest of them. Have you watched South Park?
South Park is
The nuts in the
gee,
wheelbarrow episode? Like, come on. Just because there's no science fiction really is with it.
I don't know. A part of it is people I know that are really weird, like Rick and Morty. I'm like, I don't know if I can watch it now.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
types.
Yeah, exactly.
No, check this out, though. And it kind of begs the question. This is in Detroit, Michigan on the 14th. And you're like, okay, that's kind of concerning. You know, whatever your stance is on like pro-Palestinian like protest or like getting together, whatever your cause is, that's fine. But it's scary how organized they are. How many people show up for this? How many people they were talking about have Palestinian flags?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you ever seen that many American flags like for like a protest? Like, you can't just go to Lowe's and Home Depot and like pick up eBay, Amazon, but like it's a giant freaking march. I mean, you could pull it up yourself.
Well, you know,
but-
it's in Michigan. It was in New York.
yeah.
It was at the U.S. Capitol, right? I mean, in Houston, there was a pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas, protest, whatever, too. Here
But there,
in Houston.
a lot of those they're saying, you know, they're like Israel and then America next. Have you been seeing that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is like, at
While-
the end of the
while
day,
in America, they're saying that.
regardless of like how you feel again about the Palestine-Israel thing,
Mm-hmm.
like generally speaking, right? People in Israel like America. People like Palestinians don't like the United States, and then in extension, Hamas and Iran chant "Death to America" often. So, I don't know, man. I'm again, like, you know, I don't think.
What confuses me is like, what if you have history or beliefs or religion involved? I understand you picking sides. What I don't understand is how the youth are so one-sided with this. It was like overnight, you know, all the queers for Palestine and like all the young and the liberals, they're all like pro-Palestine. Whatever, pick whatever side you want. I'm not saying that because again, I don't care. I'm Team America, but it's how are they so united? Especially all the ones that are like queers for Palestine. I mean, you know, like 90% of like Palestine, like homophobia for real.
Yeah, like
You wanna talk about
they will actually kill you.
Yep.
They will stone you to death in the street. You do realize that?
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but like that's a real thing.
That's the reality. And here's the thing too: is that like, you know, it is hard because of course when you bring in the religious aspect, obviously, for Judaism, right? Obviously, Israel is a very significant place, right? Jerusalem specifically, but for Christians, it is also an important
Holy
place.
land
Like,
too.
yes,
You know what?
obviously,
In
do we
this
have
time of
the
conflict, I think it's time to take back the Holy Land. One
Crusade-
last crusade,
Crusades 2.0? I think we got a really great chance this time.
man. You can imagine all the 2A people would just come over in boats. The real red wave.
Yeah, I'll show you I'll show you a real red wave.
Crosses
Yeah,
and
God.
we're in suits of armor we got on Amazon or 3D printed or rated at museums on the way.
Yeah, or just 3D printed onto bulletproof vests.
Yeah. Are those level 4 plates? Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, this is a good idea.
let's take it back
Might as
for
well.
Jesus.
I mean, we might as well.
Team America, I've said it.
I mean, we should just establish a Christian monarchy, right? And go back to the good old days.
Hashtag world peace.
Mm-hmm. Right. But yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. It's again, I always just go back to is like I just don't know what to believe, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, no matter what, innocent people suffer.
Mm-hmm.
People that have nothing to do with it, people that just want to live their life, have their lives ruined because of forces that are trying to do things, you know, with their own agendas in mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. It's just, I pray for the people in, in Gaza, pray for the people in Israel. And hopefully, I guess I'll give the Trump answer from a CNN town hall a few months ago. Is like, I just want people to stop dying. I just don't want any conflict. I don't want anyone to be killed. But it just seems like there is an aggressor in this situation. Where if Hamas never fired a rocket again, I don't know if there would be any conflict. And again, I'm not an expert in the Israel-Palestine thing. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. But just in recent history, from things I paid attention to, it seems like that would be the case. That there's only one side that seems to be on the aggressive front of trying to actually commit, do damage and commit harm, to people. So I don't know. Do with that as you will. But I didn't want to talk about that obviously because it's a big deal and
and it's still happening too. So it's kind of like
it's happening now. And I think didn't like President dipshit go over there? I
don't think he went over there, or maybe he did.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
But then the White House social media team or whatever just said they posted something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it had all these like special forces people's faces in there, and they had to delete it like an hour later. Like, you mean the Delta team or whatever that's there probably trying to get the American hostages out?
I'm telling you.
And you just like
hey, Hamas. Hey, these guys are trying to help people. Find their faces.
Dox them for the world to see.
I'm telling you, this administration is ran by a bunch of fucking idiots. This isn't even like, again, this is not a right versus left thing.
It's right versus wrong.
Well, they're idiots. They're idiots.
You're an idiot. It's about that time again. Christmas time.
Christmas time is here. Yeah, just
a little splash. Do it for the culture.
Yeah. So, what are we drinking tonight? Actually,
Blackland bourbon whiskey.
Yeah, out of Fort Worth, Texas. Hashtag not a sponsor. Also, maybe I shouldn't have gotten this because the Astros are playing the Rangers currently.
I know. Of all times to record, we're in the ALCS again.
I know. It's game 3, but they're up right.
This is game 4.
No, this is game 3.
We lost 2 and then won 1.
That's right. It is game 4.
Yeah. Shit. Learn to count, dude. We're getting pretty good. And last night's game was, anyways, we're not talking about sports.
Yeah.
I'm not even the big sports guy, and you got me going.
Well, it's a Houston thing. It's a pride thing.
Hey, whatever. At least whoever wins this series, at least it's a Texas team.
No, fuck that. I don't play by that rule.
What?
No.
You're not a Rangers guy?
Fuck the Rangers.
Why?
Because.
I just want to know why.
Fuck Dallas. That's why.
Technically, it's Arlington.
Fuck the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
I'm not a big Dallas person at all.
But Arlington, you're okay with?
They got 6 Flags, man. It's whatever. To me, it's still small town America. It's Arlington.
Fort Worth is actually quite nice.
But I'm also thinking like from 10 years ago. And then it was like there was a big separation. But now when you go, it's probably just all built out.
It's like Houston, right? I mean, it just keeps expanding. It's all one thing. It's like the blob.
It's a plague, yeah.
Yeah. But that's why I moved farther away.
Not far enough. We got to keep going, man.
I'm probably going to have
Pretty
to
soon you and me are going to be like with Bofang radios, like trying to do a podcast, and it's going to be the apocalypse outside.
Only if we're lucky.
If we're lucky.
Here's the thing is my favorite
Some of us are hoping.
Yeah. Come on, bring the apocalypse. Bring the end of the world. I'm ready for this moment. Well, what's funny is actually my favorite thing when I'm driving back home is right before I get to where my neighborhood is. It says now, or it says now leaving Harris County. I'm like, thank God.
Harris County is huge.
Harris County sucks. It sucks. I hate it.
High taxes, high mud tax, all of it.
That's why I'm glad I don't live in Harris County anymore.
Is it too much to ask to have a little piece of property with propane and septic and freaking your own well water, just completely on your own, and you're good with it?
I'm telling you, man, I want to get, when possible, I want to get off the grid as much as I can, whatever that means. It'd be as self-sustaining as possible.
I don't even want to have solar and like dumped back into the grid. Besides, solar's not efficient enough to where you can really, I mean, you'll get a discounted bill, but rarely does anybody ever get a negative or zero bill.
Yeah, very rarely. I mean, again, I appreciate the idea of solar, but I just don't think it's the technology is not
there
where
yet.
it needs to be.
Not for
Even for how long it's been. It's because solar's been around for what, like
30 years, something like that.
I mean, it's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for residential use.
Oh,
right?
for sure. Military, who knows?
Yeah,
Like
but residential,
small.
what, like 15 years, 20
Yeah.
years maybe at the most,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but it's still not there even after
Like
like
for how expensive it is. Too.
it is so expensive. Oh my God, it's so expensive.
I was looking at getting a generator put on the house instead.
Ooh, generator though, great idea.
For a Generac with the pad tied to my gas line, all of it on the side of the house.
I think it's what, like, right? It runs like $2,500 for everything.
No, for like a good Generac and all that, it would be like 94, 9,500
Really?
for like a good one. One that will power your whole home,
Oh well, okay.
and it's tied into your natural gas. Not one that you got to go out there and fill up and do all that.
Oh, okay. So you would do
I'm
that too?
talking
Okay.
like a permanent built-in bolted to the ground.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you're just talking like a
I mean,
little
that's
Honda
like
you run-
installing an AC unit. So
Yeah, if you're talking like what your father-in-law did, where he's going on the side of the house,
yeah, I mean
and
that's
it's kind of
that's
tied
not a-
in, and you can power like maybe the AC and a fridge, then fine.
that
But
I think you're talking like
a whole home.
2,500. Well, no, for his setup, I think like 2,500.
And then a lot of that is like he did a lot of that himself. So you got to know how to like have the disconnects so where it can feed into your breaker and you're disconnected from the main line. Otherwise, you're everything.
yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, I was looking at that like $9,500. But
But
if we have a snowmageddon or something, and I don't know if you've been paying attention, but according to the Farmer's Almanac, it's supposed to be bad this year.
like really cold.
Yeah, for the South especially. I mean, up north, everything at the usual, but we're supposed to have exceptionally cold winter.
That's awesome.
Not for us, not for the grid, not for everything else.
I take my chances.
I like the cold, but
I love the cold.
it's so much so, in fact, that people are coming out, scientists, veterinarians, and all, they're just saying that animals, including dogs down here, are getting their winter coats early. That bees are already starting to collect and store their honey for the winter. But not only that, like you're like, seems a little early, like we're October,
Yeah.
you know, but they're doing that. And on top of that, they have this thing that bees do called a brood box or something.
Okay.
So typically what bees will do, and bees, you know, I'm part of the generation where we were so worried about the bees. You know what I mean? Bees are important. I still think so. But like if the bees die, it's global apocalypse because pollination and everything
Yeah.
else.
If the bees go, we all go.
So bees are pretty important.
They're the bees.
So-
bees.
For the winter, the colony, the hive, will send out the drone bees because all they do is go out and collect honey. So like, okay, we can't use you for the winter, so go out, join another hive, do something, die, whatever. They send out all the drones so they can conserve resources with
Fucking
the
die.
worker bees, the queen, whatever. So that's fine. But typically in their little box, even during the winter, they can go to different corners of the box, eat more honey, and it's like their fat reserves, you know, they just go. They're expecting such a cold winter that the bees are doing what is called a brood box. So in the center of the hive, they're building up this like wall to where like they're going to protect themselves because they only do that in times where they think it's going to be extreme cold to where they can't even go to other parts of their hive because they may freeze. So like they're building like this little cocoon inside. They're already like bees generate a lot of heat, you know, but if the bees are worried and they're like already starting to like cocoon themselves inside their hive,
We're fucked.
it's like a panic room inside their fucking hive. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, why are the bees doing this? And the Farmer's Almanac, which is rarely wrong, is saying it's going to be like one of the worst winters we've had in 100, 200 years, whatever. So generator, solar, something.
So are we saying Snowmageddon will happen again?
That or worse, man. I don't know.
That'd be great. That'd be nuts because we got like real snow within like like a 2-year period of time because that happened in
Last year too, right?
2020. No, it wasn't last year. What was it? 2021? Where Snowmageddon?
We didn't get any snow last year. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but yeah.
Well, it's been 2 years since Snowmageddon specifically.
Yeah, we did get a hard freeze last year, but I don't think it snowed.
Okay, of course I mean most people that listen to us I think are in Houston, but of course it was Snowmageddon for us. For someone that lives in like Pennsylvania, it's like it's a fucking Tuesday.
Oh my gosh! What you don't understand is we don't have the infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
I've driven to Colorado. I've driven in the snow. I've done all that.
Yeah,
There's nobody here to deal with the roads.
It's a joke, right? Because
there's nobody here to drive like that knows how to drive on it. Worse than that, the homes aren't built to withstand it, and the infrastructure, the grid, the power grid, can't. And that's what happened. We had outdated lines that hadn't been serviced that, with the weight of the ice, were snapping and breaking. People were without power for a week or more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It wasn't only that. Again, 25% of the entire electric grid is being ran off solar. That's a huge percentage. And if there's no fucking sun, guess what? There's no energy.
We still had gas pumping though. Should have been nice if they had a generator that ran off that natural gas.
You ever think about that? Oh man,
look at us. Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought we
seen that Paul Rudd?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
Look at us.
Gifts or whatever. Oh man. Yeah, I just
get prepared, people.
Yeah.
And then for you 2A people, you probably already are. But
yeah, I mean, for you 2A folks, right? Yeah, exactly.
You can't just be 2A and none of the other stuff.
You're everything else, right? You're everything else.
Yeah.
You have to be. But it's funny because again, I know you said earlier, like be prepared, but I'm not a prepper. I find it funny that the idea of being a prepper is like something to be made
frowned upon.
Yeah, it's like be prepared for the worst.
Who's in charge of that campaign? Like, you fucking loser! How dare you have a first aid kit in your car?
Because like people because if you have, I think that they make fun of like preppers and stuff because what's a good way to put it?
The paranoid. But they always show like the most extreme example. The people who have like bug out cabins.
Like shows and movies or whatever.
Yeah, and
those are written by liberals that are in a New York high rise. They don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, but other than making them kind of like looping crazy, everything they're doing, I'm like, yeah, I would have done it differently, but yeah,
that's a good idea.
Taking notes,
but again, what it comes down to is people that have a level of self-sufficiency versus those that don't, right? And this goes. And back
most of the time, those characters, they all served in some capacity.
Yes, they're all like former military, all this kind of.
Most of the preppers in real life have served some kind. You know why? Because those people have left this green pasture that you call America, and they've been out in the real world, and they're like, holy crap, what happens if you don't have access to water? Do you have a filtration straw? Do you know how to make your own, like with charcoal and straw and gravel through a sock to at least get some of the bigger impurities out? Because I don't know if you know this. You can't just drink water from a pond or something like that. You're going to die. If not, your brain's out for like 3 days and almost pass away just from, the amount of like germs and bacteria and all that and the viruses you can get. It's bad. Water's important. If you don't even know how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, no one does, right? No one does, and that's where
can you start a fire?
I know. I mean, I know I can't, right? In
probably could. Without honestly, I probably could.
Without like,
just give me a stick, a shoelace, and something like. No, that's the bow method. Have you seen that one?
No.
Where you take a stick that's kind of elastic and you tie a shoelace around it.
No.
All right, I'm gonna take a second.
Go ahead.
So you have like a stick, and you kind of have like a hollow spot, and you shave with like a knife or something. Some fibers where it's like really fine, like hair, like woody hair that you've shaved off. That's the stuff that ignites first.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, once you have that little platform, that little bowl where the stick can't come out, the stick's kind of at a point, you could just, for 15 minutes until it gets hot enough that it starts to smoke. And when it starts to smoke, you keep going because then it's going to start dropping little embers or whatever that ideally would ignite that hair, like the coconut fibers or husk, whatever. There's a quicker way that you don't expend as much energy or resources, because at that point, if you're in the wild, everything's fight or flight, and energy is a precious resource at that point.
Right.
You need to conserve it. So if you spend an hour trying to make a fire, then and then you have no energy left to go food or build a shelter, you're screwed either way. But you take a shoelace and a stick and you kind of make a bow out of it, like bow and arrow looking bow.
Yeah.
And you, with the shoelace, you loop it around the stick.
Okay.
So when you move it like a violin, it spins the stick for you in place. So you hold it and you go like this, and the shoelace that's wrapped around is spinning the stick. So then you're just holding the stick with pressure down and you're going like this, one hand, and it's spinning back and forth.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never tried it, but in theory, I could make a fire like that.
In
Or
theory,
honestly, I'll probably just have some flint or waterproof matches, something modern people would do.
because it's the fucking 21st century.
You have glasses too. You could do that magnifying trick. Start smoking, but they're probably so dirty you probably couldn't do it.
Yeah, probably. So this is the struggle. But no, what's funny about that is again, just with the whole prepper versus or like non-preppers or whatever. A lot of it goes back to this idea of like urban versus rural way of thinking, right? Because again, like for someone who lives in a metro area, so much of what you rely on actually is community driven.
It's convenience.
Well, it's convenience, but it's community driven,
That's why
right?
they're convenience stores. Everything there is. Chipotle is right there. You need to go to the gas station. It's right there, and that's suburbs. It's not even big city, but you can go downstairs, and there is a convenience store on the first floor of your loft of your building or whatever.
Right.
Your local bar, your little hangout spot. Like if you're talking How I Met Your Mother or Friends, they've got their little coffee shop. They've got their little. If that were all to collapse, what?
Right.
Those are the worst places to be in every apocalyptic movie ever.
The city is because you're relying so much on outside resources to take care of yourself, right? But not only the things you said, but like transportation, right? Bus or rail systems, all that kind of stuff.
There's a reason I'm on the north side of Houston.
Right. Like and with even if you get into the suburbs, which is still obviously there's things we share in the communities we have, but there is more self-reliance. We live in individual houses, right? We have to usually if you live in the suburbs, like you have your own vehicle, right? You have all these other things where you have to rely on your own resources to get these things where, and again, the further and further you get out from the city, the more and more you have to be able to rely on yourself to provide, whatever it is through your daily life. Right. And so what's funny is like a farmer, right? Once we actually sat down, or someone that just lives out, in on property, you would think they're a prepper just because of the way they live their life, but it's because like they're like, no, I have to rely. I got to do this stuff. I can't just count on things happening. I don't go to the store very often.
It takes them an hour to get to the store. You know what I mean?
Exactly, right. So it's like, when you have those things,
but to them, it's not prepping. It's just living. To your point,
that's exactly.
But back then, it wasn't called prepping. It was just living. It was survival. Right. Leftovers, things you didn't use before they went bad. You canned them. Well, does anybody even know how to can?
No.
There's several methods. You got the pot can, the boil method, all that. Like, food waste is so crazy now. Like, if you grew your own vegetables, okay, even if like the world ended and you grew carrots, you found a carrot or whatever, you planted the seeds, you had one carrot or whatever, you planted the top, however carrots grow. I think that's it. So you can eat most of it and put the top back in. I think it grows another carrot, but whatever. You made carrots, right? What do you do if you can't eat it all? You're one person. Are you going to let the other 20 carrots spoil? No, there's ways you can reuse that or can it and preserve it. You know what I mean? Like that's what these people have been doing forever. Right. The Middle Ages, Dark Ages before that.
Well, not even that long. I mean, you go back to just as far back as 100 years ago.
1950s even, yeah.
Yeah, 100 years ago. People were doing that because you had to be able to rely on yourself. You couldn't let things go to waste, right? But
capitalism, like at this point, had a little bit of a fault.
I mean, the capitalism and the free market of the United States has allowed for food waste to be okay, essentially, right? It's not because again you
but
have
these mega
all
corporations, your Kraft, your Campbell's, like your all of this, like it's too convenient. Like everything's in a box, when everything's ready to go.
When shit hits the fan, that's why. Again, a lot of ways, most of America is very soft, right? We're very soft because.
Yeah. Well,
everything's so convenient. Even if you're not wealthy,
if shit hits the fan, literally, where are you gonna wipe, bro? You can find toilet paper. Do you know what leaves to use and not to use? I'll tell you, my first stop, since cell phones probably won't work, it's going to be to like Barnes and Noble. I'm going to get a book on like plant, horticulture, whatever. You know how many plants? This has kind of been on my feed a little bit lately too, but plants like native medicine, like what's good for headaches and pain relief and what's good for antiseptic and for infections and what you can eat and what's poisonous, you know?
Yeah, just think about all that information we have. We have because you don't have to, but
that stuff used to be passed down and taught to children.
Yeah.
So the scary part is, you know, if we talk about other parts of the world, like, oh, big bet, you know, America is going to come in and swipe the plate clean. But to be honest, if everything hit the fan for the whole world, those places that are still kind of, I don't want to say third world, they're the ones that are going to be like, it's just another day.
Mm-hmm.
America, without their cushy lifestyle, is going to have a rude awakening.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, the scary thing is, it's going to be like Americans fighting Americans for resources. You know, and you don't want to see it like that, but hopefully we can all hold hands and wait for FEMA to show up 2 months later for, you know, with what we need. But I don't know.
At that point, I don't think FEMA. I mean, FEMA sucks with all the resources we have.
Dude, I'm sorry.
It'll be even worse.
You've seen those? I know Costco has them occasionally, and there's a couple of YouTubers like Heavy D Sparks. Mm-hmm. You ever watch him? Mm-hmm. He'll have sponsors on occasionally where it's like the not preppers, but it's like emergency meals.
Yeah.
But it's like a big bucket.
Yeah.
And it's got flour and like dehydrated food that you can just add water to and like all that. But it's like got 100 meals that'll feed like 4 people for 4 weeks or whatever. But it's all in one convenient bucket. You know what I mean? All you need is water. So you need to start stocking on. And the shelf life is like 4 years for each bucket, something like that. Which doesn't help my wife because none of that's probably gluten-free. But
well, here's the thing. If the world's coming to an end,
I don't care if you're bloated and brain fog and lethargic. You're eating. Or you can't travel with us. The family will leave you behind.
We are in a crisis here, people. We're in a crisis.
You eat that gluten. No.
You eat that fucking bread. You eat the bread.
Dude, I'm looking at a little plaque over there. Even fishing. Like going back to fishing. Can you... make a rod and a reel? Can you make a hook from nothing and get your own fish?
Oh, my God. God, man.
Do you know how to clean a fish? Like...
Man, if shit went south, man, we'd be so fucked.
That's a lot for you to process.
This has been a lot. This has been a very heavy episode.
Well, it's heavy on my heart, dude. I mean, with everything hitting the fan, the way I keep saying...
Oh, I
don't think people realize how close the world is to being topsy-turvy. It's done it multiple times. How many wars have we had? How long have we had peacetime other than a few countries fighting?
I mean, conflict has been part of the human, condition for a long time. Oh, since the beginning. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I think.
And once you have kids.
Yeah, that's it too.
It's like even more so.
When you have when you're a parent, you have children and a spouse. You're like, But also, I think the guys do this just like just because it's the way we're wired. Is if you think about what would I do if shit hit the fan, right? Or
go northwest
to Montana.
Just go northwest. Can't go north. That's Dallas. You want to avoid that at all costs.
Indeed, you do. Indeed,
you could probably make it through Austin. They're sissies that way.
That is true.
Just kidding.
They have
like Austin.
They
just
have
not the people.
Great barbecue though.
What, Austin?
Yeah.
It's more Round Rock. Different. Yeah. Same, but different.
Yeah, it's a suburb. It's like they have. Oh man.
Before the freeways connected them, Round Rock was its own place.
Have you ever gone to Round Rock Donuts?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
You ever been to Salt Lick and Round Rock?
No.
What about Black's and Lockhart?
No.
There's a lot of good eating right around there.
There is. Yeah, there is. I've heard a lot about it. But no, okay.
I need to learn how to weld so I can somehow weld like a receiver hitch to my Traeger so I can just bolt it to my truck and just take it. End of the world times, you got to bring the Traeger. All I need are pellets.
Hey, the nukes went off, but I got my fucking Traeger.
And it's smoking too as we're going. You know what I mean? Just...
I gotta have the brisket going. It's gonna be on
Gotta
its
bring
head
it
out.
because hey, my truck has. I already told the story too. When the power went out with my first
Yeah.
Traeger,
Yeah.
I can plug it into the back of my bed of my truck.
Yeah.
So I'll just close the tailgate. We'll be rolling down the freeway, and the pellets are still going.
So good. God, man, the barbecue that you had the other day was so good.
Thank you.
It was so awesome. Those ribs were my favorite. The ribs
Really?
were, yeah.
The sausage went first, and I just threw that on just to have as extra.
Hey, you know what? Like when you smoke sausage, it's always very tasty. But then Chapel
It's
Hill
so hard to screw up. I threw it on, and walk away and forget about it. What temperature does it need to be? It doesn't matter. It's sausage.
Yeah.
It's at this point you're basically reheating it and just adding a little extra smoke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked over and all the ribs were kind of still there. Brisket was kind of still there. I mean, people pulled some, but all the sausage was gone. My dad was like, is there any sausage left? And I'm like, I picked around and found 3 little slices for him.
Like here.
Like if people like the sausage that much, you know how much money I would have saved just buying sausage? I wouldn't have done a brisket all night long. I just would have fired up the grill 2 hours for the thing and threw on some sausage.
Yeah. No, but the ribs were my favorite. They were very good.
My ribs are pretty much on point.
Yeah.
I've got that down.
Yeah,
I
you
feel
do.
like, but
Once I get my smoker, you're gonna have to give me your method of how you do, because they are delicious.
Daniel-san, I shall teach you. The wax on
Wax off.
with the binder, mustard, wax off, hardcore carnivore, black. There's a few little tricks, but yeah.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait to get a smoker because you can't go wrong with
It's
good
cheating. I
brisket.
know. Leave a comment. Say, real men get a hardwood, whatever. Leave it. I don't care.
Real
Leave a
men do
comment.
what?
Real men use the hardwood smoker.
Whatever. Who fucking cares?
I guess not a real man then. I like the convenience of setting my little temperature, which what I want,
and then going to bed
and walking away.
Well, I think about it, like you said, I think you did the brisket overnight, right?
I did.
Look, again, you're a hardcore, okay, my brother-in-law, right? He does great brisket, right? He does the old-fashioned way, right? He's got to
Nothing
get up,
wrong
he's got to
with
do
that.
it. Hey, but
I like my 8 hours.
It'd be nice. You set it, you go to bed, right? You wake up.
Bada bing, bada boom.
You wake up. It's the best brisket, and you didn't even have to sit there and get up. You didn't have to get up in the middle of the night. Why am I doing interrupted president? I don't even know why.
I was going for it. I was just letting you have it.
It's the very best, right?
I've had a lot of brisket in my time, and you got to say.
Yeah, I got to tell you, right? On the Traeger, right? You can't go wrong, right?
But
The
it doesn't even
ribs.
have to be Traeger. Any of the pellet smokers. It's so convenient.
I know. I need to go on Marketplace again and try to find one.
Yeah, I won't buy new.
Well, it's because new costs like $700. I just don't want to do it.
What are you talking about? For like the baseline. Mine new is like $1,200.
Well, yeah. Oh, I know. I'm saying baseline, like a small Pit Boss.
Pit Boss, something like that. The
$700.
ones I was looking was like $6.99.
Yeah.
Very good one at a cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they got some of those that are like $4,000 from Traeger, like the Timberlines and all
Oh, dude,
that.
that's like
I'm just like,
fucking.
so leave a comment, like, and subscribe. So maybe
Yeah, so we
one
can
day
get
I
a nicer
one.
Traeger. Oh man, okay.
And if I do, I promise I will give him my old one.
So do it for me, so I can get an
Yeah.
old Traeger, and then he gets a new one.
Pretty much.
So, I don't have anything. You have anything else to say?
I think that's it.
Hey, just love your life.
Love your life. Love your family.
Yeah,
Go hug somebody. Because it could be over tomorrow.
yeah,
Soon.
and
Probably not.
It'll probably be okay. And go Stros for our Houston folks.
Yeah.
We out.
Peace.
Out of here.